My name is Irene and I welcome you to my podcast, Neue, Musik, Leben. I have studied classical singing and voice, but I love to sing contemporary and experimental music. If you would like to know more about me, please look at my website www.irenekurka.de. In this podcast, I talk with you about topics all around contemporary music. I share with you behind the scenes, insider knowledge, and I want to bring closer to you the human beings out of the new music world. Thank you very much for all your emails and feedbacks. I'm cooperating with the NMZ, neue Musikzeitung. In this episode, I have interviewed the composer Ivan Boumans. He has been in many countries, especially in Europe, but has been living and teaching now for quite a while in Luxembourg. So please enjoy the interview with Ivan Boumans. Hello, Ivan Boumans. I welcome you into my podcast, Neue, Musik, Leben.
Thank you very much. I'm really excited.
And I'm excited too, because I'm talking today to a very international person who has been born in Madrid. We already talked about your name and your parents, and then you studied all over the place, and now you live and teach in Luxembourg. We will talk about that soon, but at first I would like to know from you, how did you find your way into new and experimental music?
I think music found me somehow. I started music not really because I was interested into, but because of my parents thought it would be good to have an artistic activity beside my other activities. And then composition, which actually wasn't my first goal or something, so it started like a game. So I had two very good colleagues at the time, so that were playing instruments as well as me. And then instead of playing outside football or or other things, so we decided to make like a small composition group, and we wrote things for each other, so for us three. So, and that's that's how composition started. So, and then I got caught to this game. So, and then from the beginning it was really just a game, and then my style was actually quite easy. So really tonal, no modulations at all, because I didn't know how to compose. It was only a game. And then I like to listen to music. So I listen to every kind of music. And I think this fact of listening so different music styles helped me actually to find a bit my way. So I have classical periods when I only listen to classical music. I had also Swedish folk periods where I only listened to Swedish folk music. I had also Japanese orchestral period music, so actually I think the fact of listening to so many kind of music opened me a wide world that I didn't have at that time when I started to compose.
And then you found your style when you were studying with your teachers or at conservatory?
I think I still don't have a single style. And that's actually because I have the impression that the music market, asks you to be really versatile. So in my work, I sometimes need to do much more easy listening music. As a film music composer that I also am, so I have to adapt my style. So I actually I feel comfortable probably with the label that I got in a French radio emission. So they told me that my music was like a neo-impressionist. But actually, I prefer to stay open to every kind of style. So, and I'm still actually researching. So every day or every composition that I do is a research. So I'm still not, I'd say, not satisfied with one only style. So I'm just still looking to myself.
And do you play an instrument, or did you learn one?
I started learning clarinet. I never said that too loud because it's already a long time ago. But I still play piano. Not because but I wanted to become a pianist at some point, but now it's more a work tool for composing, also for teaching, and it's actually quite necessary to play to be able to play your own stuff.
And I just mentioned that you have been in many countries, and you know many countries quite well, and you studied there, and now you live in Luxembourg, and you met different musicians, composers in all those different countries. How do you perceive the music scenes in those countries, and how is the music life in Luxembourg?
So I really love the diversity of music because, I mean, as I told you before, so I don't listen only one style of music. So I really like the diversity of the world. So, I mean, I love to travel as well. Maybe it's because of the fact that my parents, my mother is Spanish, my father is half Luxembourg, half Dutch. So from the beginning, I was actually faced to this diversity. I mean, even if I was born and lived in Spain for my first 15 years, I was already faced to this world reality. And then I have the chance that Luxembourg is actually a quite multicultural country. It's really tiny. Not everyone knows where it is, but actually, if you see the social tissue, it's actually based of so many nationalities, and also this diversity is actually really quite obvious here in Luxembourg. So that opens actually mine amazingly well, and then because it's also really small, so there's a big possibility to work with people abroad, with musicians abroad. So. And that's why actually my world opened. So first of all, because of my family situation, but also afterwards because Luxembourg actually allowed me to do that, to keep an open eye outside. And I love this diversity. I love actually to take some aspects of some kind of culture and to mix them with another culture, and I love that.
So you receive Luxembourg as a very open place, even though you say it's small, but everything comes towards you, or you can invite people.
Absolutely. I mean, Luxembourg. If once again, if you just talk about numbers, the half of the population is foreign.
Okay.
Or 48%. I mean, almost a half. So it's not Luxembourg. So that's why it's actually an experiment maybe, or a laboratory where actually you can actually, or you don't have the choice other than meeting other cultures. So, and somehow this is actually extremely rich in terms of art. At least for me, it's extremely rich.
I mean, they built a lot. I mean, you have now a philharmony, you have music festivals. I mean, there's so much happening, I think, especially within the last years, or?
Absolutely, yeah. But already in the past, but I think I have the impression that in the past they weren't focusing too much on this international, how to say, in this international view. So this international opening view, it's actually more recent. But there has always been a quite intense cultural life in the country.
Mm. And how was it then for you being in all those other countries? What did you learn or take away with you being in France, for example?
But I mean, in France was more actually because of the studies. So when I landed in the Conservatory of Paris, I was a bit, how to say, I was terrified somehow, you know, when you get that in this room, Messiaen taught, or when your teachers were like students that knew big names of the French scene, like Hier, for instance, and then you see, okay, so I can't fail. You know, it's like it's a big pressure. So let's say the remembrances that I still from France are often related to this fear a bit of this responsibility somehow. Even if actually I learned extremely a lot and I love France. I try to go back as much as possible. but when I think back, I see, okay, yeah, I spent 5 years, a bit terrified, but I learned so much, and I feel like I was actually being given a goal or a duty, which is to continue a bit with the French way of doing music.
And now you're also teaching in Luxembourg. It's a conservatory, lots of different things. How is teaching for you?
Teaching is actually extremely nice. The teacher also learns a lot from students. I have many stories about students telling me about one piece that I don't know at all, and then taking a look at the score and saying, wow, that's nice. I could use it for my next lesson, for instance. So what I learned, or what I like actually from teaching is that. So the exchange with students, the fact that you learn also yourself, you realize that you don't know everything already. So there is still range to improve. I love to transmit. I mean, as a composer, you also transmit with another language, which is music. But I also like to transmit with words. And then it's actually that what I like most. So the way of transmitting, and also the exchange that you have with your students. And also it's like it's a lifelong learning somehow. So when you teach, you learn every day something new. Or at least, I had recently one student that wrote me a message 10 years after we met. So I had him as a student 10 years ago, and he thanked me. He thanked me just because he told me that I shared my music passion with him, and he was like amazed. Even if he doesn't do me now, I think he still remembers me. Mm-hmm. And then these kind of moments you realize, wow, I have the most beautiful job in the world, and it allows me to combine it with composing.
I also think it's very rewarding, and also when I look at my own studies, I feel there is a lot of seeding and different things. I also didn't know when they would bloom or how they would bloom, but at some point you realize, oh yeah, this is Absolutely. Because of that. And I mean, sometimes it's also easier to look back. I sometimes call it reverse engineering, because at the studies you're just doing, and I was doing lots. And at some point it's like, oh, cool. Now I can do this. And also this process then to do your own thing. I mean, at first you learn from your teachers, and then you suddenly go on your own way, and there's nobody who helps you.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
You're strong and you're able to do it.
Absolutely. So that's actually what I like in that, the exchange. So you exchange a lot. I mean, when you're a music student, so you get also a lot from your teachers, and then you are really thankful for that you got. All the music knowledge, all the music discoverings, and also, and then at some point you feel also the duty to make it the same, And then, I mean, the best way actually, or the best balance for me is actually composing, also conducting, and teaching, because actually teaching forces you actually to stay researching. Sorry, to remain being interested on discovering new things. If you only compose, maybe you could fall into a comfort zone situation where you told yourself, okay, I know already everything, so I don't need to research, so I will keep doing the same thing the rest of my life, But with teaching,
and you're also in touch with those young people, so you kind of know what the new generation is up to.
New generation, new ideas, new music as well, new expectations as well. So you get to know the public of the future as well, So somehow also the audience of the public. So the audience of the future. So, and then you're basically, it helps you a bit to plan a bit, so, or to know, what is coming. after that. And then you decide if you want to follow the trend, or if you remain in your style, or if you remain actually in what you like to do now.
I would like to know, what are the qualities you most appreciate in performers you work with?
I don't know. It's quite difficult to say. It depends, actually. The key word that I try to really to introduce in my life always is sharing. So when I work with performers, I like that they share with me what they feel about the piece. If they have another point of view, I like to hear it as well. It's the exchange with the performers, and so it's actually very important for me. I don't like, for instance, performers that they only play what's written in the score without asking too many questions, because I sometimes have the impression that they are just trying to please me and not really trying to please themselves, And I think when you play a piece, you also need to put yourself somehow. So that's why. That's what I like the most, is that the exchange with the performer. So I like when I'm working on something. So I like actually to talk with the performer that I know will be performing the piece, and maybe to discuss some points to see. I'm stuck in this place. What do you think about that? Yeah. So that's what I like the most, actually, about this performing.
Great. And I also looked it up, or we talked about it, that you have written music for voice. And since I'm a singer, I'm always curious, how is it writing for the singing voice? Because for some composers, that's really difficult, or they don't want to do it. And some are so excited about it. So for everybody, it's different. How is it for you?
I started writing for voice during my composition lessons. As a challenge from my teacher. So he told me, okay, now we will work for voice. And at the beginning I was scared, because honestly, I never liked to sing. Singing was for me like getting naked in front of people, and that was actually scary, like really scary. And because of this fear, I somehow rejected a bit to write for voice or to get involved with voice stuff. But actually, this composition exercise opened a wide world to me, because then I had to combine my music with text, with lyrics. And also I discovered a lot of new music through that. So now I started to listen to Renaissance music, because that I never heard before, because it was vocal music, and it didn't interest me at all. And that's how actually everything started. And since that, my taste for voice increased. A couple of years later, I wrote something for two voices and two accordions, percussion, and cello. After a couple of years, I got appointed as choir director. Mm-hmm. Something really, really amazing for me, because once again, voice
certainly.
Voice for me was like, no, thank you, no. And then actually now, also during my lessons, I realized that I love to sing. I'm not a trained singer at all. I never did singing lessons, but I realized that I like to sing, and now I don't fear about singing in front of people, not at all. And that makes actually also, as a composer, easier to compose for voice, because you also know your own voice. You get in love with your voice, or with the voice, the simple fact to write for voice. That's why, if I think about my catalog of singing pieces, it has been in a crescendo. It started quite late. That's why my catalog doesn't have a lot of vocal music. It's also because of the fact that I almost only compose on commission, and most of commissions are instrumental, so not really for voice. But it's actually something that I love to do. I have done a couple of choir compositions as well, arrangements. It's also a bit challenging, because you have to respect somehow the text, but at some time you do need to do something that is musical and nice. and it's something that I would like to increase. I mean, I would love to increase my knowledge about this, you know.
Sounds really great. And I found your story very fascinating, that you even got into something what you first didn't like or even were afraid of. And sometimes there are things in our life that knock, 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 and suddenly it's part of it. I mean, I think the German audience already knows this about me. When I was a child, I was very shy and I spoke very soft, and everybody was yelling at me, please speak louder. And I was so intimidated. But the urge to go on stage and become a singer was there very early. And for a long time, it was a big gap. My singing, I was loud on stage, but when I spoke, nobody understood me. And now I'm even, doing this podcast. And I also found it so fascinating that I'm doing something I was afraid of for a long time in my life. And suddenly it turns around, and it's maybe even the greatest gift or one of big talents. And it's really fascinating how life turns things around.
It's important to remain open to everything, you know. If you close yourself to from the beginning and you refuse categorically to do something, so then maybe if you will turn in a circle, and then you are close to discoveries, you know, and to flexibility and to new worlds. So
I mean, you're very open, you're very diverse, and I don't know how you perceive it. For me, I often find that with our new music, contemporary music, we're still like in a bubble. And I wish that we come out and more people listen to what great music we do. How is that for you? What do you do for that? Or is it different with your music? And there are already big audiences who are curious.
I've made a lot of music, so a lot of different types of music, also experimental music, a bit more abstract music. And I always tried to get how the public reacts, you know. And I got actually the impression that what the public wants is to understand what they are listening to, or to feel something, you know. What I criticize a bit about the contemporary music sometimes is that it's based on a technical concept, which is wonderful, and you could actually spend hours enjoying to analyze the piece and putting colors on and say, there is a series here and so on. But then the emotion is not there, you know. Or exactly the opposite. You have contemporary music that there's a lot of emotion there, but it's so difficult to understand, you know, or there's no sense at all, you know. And I have the impression that the public is seeking for that, you know, especially in this society, which is actually based on how to say capitalism and consume, and you know, you need to be in some way a bit efficient. I know it's terrible to talk about efficiency in music, you know, but I somehow have the impression that the public, the audience, wants to get what they want, you know. And they want to understand what they're listening to. They want to maybe sing the theme that they heard at the beginning. They want to sing it after the concert, and that's actually a bit difficult. So I mean, it's a very difficult balance to find, because if you give the public only what they want, so there's no diversity at some point. You know, we end doing the same thing. You know. Look the pop scene. Look what the mainstream radios are playing. So I mean, it's always the same. I tell always my students. So do you never realize that the pop songs are only based on this 4-chord thing? You know, and that's actually the risk. At some point, as a composer, it's my case. I want to please the public. Even if I know from the beginning that it's impossible to please everyone, you know. But at the other point, I want to remain myself, you know, and to express what I want without boundaries. It's a bit difficult. It's really a very difficult problem to solve, you know. It's quite difficult to solve that because two worlds faced somehow each other, you know. the complexity of composing, especially in contemporary music, and what the audience wants to hear or wants to feel,
That's correct. And on the other side, it's also good to challenge the audience a little bit. Like you said, no, you should not just give them all the chocolate and leave out other things.
Absolutely.
And the question is then, and also, you already touched it a little bit. How do I stay myself or authentic in all those options?
Yeah. It's important to explain or to be clear in your ideas. To transmit, guys. That's what I was intending. Try to feel it like I felt, or maybe you will feel it otherwise. But that's what I intended. Like I worked on a four note scale, and my whole piece is built about it, or something like that. So the understanding is actually the key of the problem. If the people understand what they are listening to, then they can do their own opinion afterwards. But at least they know what it's all about. But if you face a piece and you don't know at all what's going on there, then suddenly it becomes only noise. I heard that already in a concert, people sitting next to me, and they told me, "Oh, that's boring. That's only noise," because they didn't understand what it was all about, Also, there was no concert program at that concert, so actually there is no reference about the piece, just the title, the number of the composer, the name of the composer, sorry, and that's all. So, no history about the piece, a couple of words about the analysis of the piece, or to tell at least it's based on a Gregorian scale or whatever, No explanation at all, and it's a bit tricky. I'm sure that if people would understand much better than what they're listening to, that would change a lot. That's my.
On the one hand, yes, and there are also people who whatever. Talk in a concert or the different approaches, or I often tell friends who are not so into music to sit up close, because oftentimes there's lots to see in contemporary music, when the pianist goes into the piano or something. But on the other hand, I also wonder why we have to know so much about music. When people whatever go into a spectacular building, or they receive the architecture and they say, okay, I like the staircase or I don't like it. I don't think anybody thinks about how or what the architect had to do to build this, or a castle or something. And in music, somehow they want to know more and to just go and enjoy and experience something or feel something. And so there's also some discrepancy, I think.
Yeah, but if you are in front of a building and you don't like it, you turn your head and look to the next one, But if you are in a concert and you start listening to a piece, you cannot actually close your ears, You need to continue to listen to the piece. And if the piece lasts 1 hour, you can, even if you turn your face, it doesn't change anything. To the music. And then if you don't like it at all, so it becomes actually a torture somehow, I also had that I was with a colleague listening to a piece of Messiaen, which lasts 2 hours, ensemble intercontemporain, really nice performance, but he couldn't stand more than 30 minutes, And then, he turned a bit the head. He was trying to get to read something, to get distracted about it, but it was actually torture for him. It's a bit different if you are, as I mentioned, so if you are in the front of a building or in the front of a picture, you turn your head around, you look to the next one, and then that's it. So, but the music is it's a bit different, It's my point of view. Yeah. I'm not sure if it's like this, but it's actually my point of view.
Yeah, that's interesting that once you are in a concert, you probably don't leave. Some people do, but most stick to it.
Most of them they stay. It's always quite awkward to sit in a concert and to see people leaving. It's a bit, especially if you are a composer. If you are a composer and you see people leaving the room, I never had that by chance. But that I thought about that a couple of times, and that would be actually terrifying for me. You know, even if I know that I will never be able to please everyone, no, but I don't want to annoy anyone, you know, like I don't want to piss somebody off, you know, like oh, I hate your music. That was actually terrible. It's actually a nightmare, you know. I want to share my music, and if somebody doesn't like it, no problem at all. I accept that, because I also, as a listener, don't like every kind of music, you know. That's something that I also try to teach to my students. I mean, I had a student last year who wants to become a composer, and he's really talented, extremely talented. But his problem is he's scared about showing his pieces to people, and ask him why. Because I don't want that they don't like my piece. But I mean, come on, do you like, for instance, the music of this composer? No. You see, you have the right as a listener to don't like something, you know. And if you want to become a composer, you need to be open to that, to this option. The option that maybe your music will not be appreciated, you know. But thinking about somebody leaving one of my concerts is actually a nightmare. By chance, never.
I mean, it is a challenge, and I mean, maybe some colleagues have this inner strength, and for some, it's more challenging. And I think it's also a very important part you maybe already learn at university to get how do you deal with critique, and or if people don't like what you do or don't like your voice or something. I mean, like when people might not like my voice, there's nothing I can do because I'm born with it, and so I also would ever learn to not take things personally. And on the other hand, if people really like something, that's also a great feeling, because then you have good partners for cooperation to work together, or if the audience likes it and you can really do your thing, that's cool.
I mean, the biggest problem is that we as society are not taught to fail. You know, everything is based on performance. You have to be good. You have to have good marks. You have to do always your work. And maybe that's actually a big problem, because actually failure is also part of life. You can also fail. It's not a problem at all, you know. You don't need to be ashamed about that, you know. But if you see our education systems, they are based on not to fail. You have to do perfect everything, you know. Maybe it's actually a field that needs a bit more improvement, you know, to work on this possibility of fail, or the possibility of not please everyone, you know. And I think that needs to start in the school, or even at home with your family, you know. To fail is possible. To not please everybody is also possible, you know.
Yeah, it would be great if we could all learn that it's normal. I mean, you learn also a lot from failure or mistakes. And when you look at, you mentioned the children. I mean, when we look at babies, when they start walking, they failed so many times. We all failed so many times. We stumbled around and we did it again. And at some point, we all learned how to walk.
Absolutely, and they never stop. You know, it's like they keep actually trying. No, they keep trying. They don't say, "Okay, I failed, so I stop." You know, that's not the goal. You know, if you play in your piano exam, your scales a bit slower or not so good that intended, it's not a problem. Next time would be actually much better. You know, what I try to communicate to my students is try to do your best. That's actually the main thing. So if you have done your best, then you will always doing your best, and at some point it will be great, or perfect enough, you know. But that's actually the idea that I try to transmit. So do your best.
You're doing so many different things. I mean, you're composing and you're teaching many different subjects to many students. How do you structure your day? Do you have any form of time management, or what advice do you give your students?
Structure. What does it mean? I mean, The problem of a composer is that we do an activity that is absolutely not structured at all. I mean, we are seeking for inspiration, and inspiration sometimes comes early in the morning, mostly really late in the night, and it conditions actually your whole life. So if you want to go to the cinema and you are like in an inspiration mode, you cannot go to the cinema then. Then you have to refuse to your colleagues. Sorry, I cannot go with you. I'm in a really inspiring moment right now, And basically, after having lived so long in this kind of atmosphere, I still don't have a proper organization. So I try to do things on feeling. For instance, today it's really sunny in Luxembourg here. We have a very bright sun. So I would like to spend my time outside, and maybe to have a walk in the woods to seek for inspiration, for instance, instead of preparing my analysis lesson of tomorrow, So basically, I try to follow what I want to do in the moment. So I'm not organized at all at the moment, even if I think for some aspects of my work it would be actually necessary to be structured.
Cool. That's great if that works to feel the right moment. Wow. What are you thankful for? Yeah.
I mean, it's an ideal, but it doesn't work always. I mean, I sometimes need to do something, and even if I would prefer to do something else, I have to do that, But at least it's an ideal that I want to follow. So, and it works every time much more so than in the past. In the past, it didn't work at all, but at least now it becomes actually more easy.
I sometimes do. I'm a very structured person, but sometimes when I have no dates during the day, no appointments, then I also go more with the flow. And sometimes I'm very fascinated how much I get done, even though I didn't have a plan in the morning.
Yeah.
So I will experiment with that also.
I mean, I try to be organized, but at some point I realized that sometimes I lost time. Like I had a period of my life where I said, okay, I will try to compose every morning from 8 to 10, But maybe one day I only wrote one bar, and I spent 2 hours doing one bar. Or the other day I didn't compose anything, And that was actually at the end quite frustrating somehow because I had to sacrifice a lot of things. So that's why at some point I decided to change a bit my mind and to follow actually the present moment. And if I'm inspired, okay, then I try to be focused on composing. And if I need to go outside to take a deep breath, so I go outside. But as I said before, it's an ideal, which is not always possible to respect,
Yeah. And also, I guess every person is different, what works
Absolutely.
for someone.
Also, every period of life is different. So,
What are you thankful?
What I'm thankful.
What are you thankful for today?
Today, I'm thankful of the sun. We have the sun. As a born Spanish living in Luxembourg, sun is very important, extremely important. And in my case, I feel really a big difference. When the weather is bad outside, I don't like to do anything. I would prefer to stay in the couch reading something or sleeping or resting. But when the sun is outside, first of all, my energy increases, so I would like to bomb the world, to travel. The inspiration increases as well, because also my mood increases. So actually, I love good weather. So, and that's why I'm thankful about that today.
Great. And who or what has played the greatest role in shaping you, and what inspires you?
I don't know how to say so. I mean, if I only focus about one person, I maybe would forget a lot of people that helped me. I mean, It starts from my every first teacher in music until my last composition teacher, until my last student of yesterday. I try always to get that what people can provide me. In terms of composition, I'm how to say, I'm really thankful about all the people that trust on me at the beginning by commissioning pieces, even if they were for free or just for school auditions, whatever. But at least they trust me, And there are a couple of teachers at the Conservatoire of Luxembourg that are now my work colleagues. So that's the fun of the story. There are a couple of teachers in the conservatory that trust on me in the past when I was a student and I was trying to open my career or to develop my composition career, and they trust me. I wasn't known at all, so they didn't know if they were taking a risk or not. But at the end, they trust me and they commissioned me pieces, and then they, I would say, through that they encourage me to keep going this way, So I'm really thankful to them in terms of composition. Also I'm really thankful about my first music teacher that opened me a huge world. I'm also really thankful about the last student of yesterday that told me about one piece that I didn't know, for instance. I'm also really open to my so thankful to my composition teacher in Luxembourg that opened me the world of the voice, So it's really difficult to focus on only one person. All the people that I have met in my life, they gave me something. And I always tried to give them something in return.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what does success mean for you?
The concept of success has changed a lot in my life. When you start as a young musician or young student or young composer, so the only goal of your life is becoming a world-known composer, and being the whole time traveling and so on, This is quite an ideal, a bit fake in terms of that it's actually a bit built by the society, This success, like being, you need to be on spot the whole time, But now actually success for me is just to do what I want without boundaries and then to share with people. So once again, sharing is actually the most important word in my life, sharing. And if I can share my music, even if within a small audience, it's already a success for me.
Mm-hmm. Great. And is there anything that drives you forward, or do you have a vision?
A vision, it's maybe a bit anti-musical, but my vision is actually to do more other stuff than music, because I was actually for years I was focused on music. So I always told my colleagues that I was married with music, and now I'm not divorced with music. We still are in contact, but let's say I try to fill my life with other experiences, because I'm sure that these experiences will actually nourish my musical life. Mm-hmm. And that's actually what I'm trying to do right now. After the lockdowns, this Corona pandemic, we all artists were focused to something that we are scared about it: silence. And the first lockdown was actually at the beginning like, gosh, it's like a silence, no projects at all. So what I will do with my life, that was scary. But at some point, I discovered that I have a garden. I discovered that I like planting and working with vegetables and with green. And I realized that actually this activity was actually helping me to become more creative, Mm-hmm. And then basically, so the first lockdown was actually a huge discovery for me. And I'm not scared about silence anymore, So if I had to define what's moving me now, it's that discovering all the stuff and music,
Right. we're actually at the last question. Which tip would you like to give young artists?
Trust, really. Trust on yourself. Trust on your capacities. Experiment. Do what you want to do. And also don't be scared about what you think the people could say or could think, you know. The most important thing is what do you think yourself about yourself, you know. Critics, if they are constructive, they are good. I never had a problem with a constructive critic. I always have problems with destructive critics because you don't learn anything about them. But that's that, actually. Trust on yourself, trust on your capacities, keep trying. If you fall, wake up. You will fall, that's for sure. Everybody falls, especially in music world or in artistic world, but it's part of the show.
Well, thank you very, very much. It was a great pleasure talking to you, and thank you for taking the time.
Thank you too for giving me this opportunity to share my world with people.
This was the interview from today. I hope that it inspired you. And please send me your emails, send me your feedback, because I love to interact with you. Thank you very much that you tuned in with me today. I really, really hope that you liked it. And please tell your friends and colleagues about this podcast. I thank you very much. I wish you all the best. Live your music, live your life, and see you next time. Yours, Irene.